part. Here goes your live. All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. Dave Wilson of the Ringer Hire Show. Hey, tonight we have Trelawney Halliburton. I got it right.
Trelawney. It's all right,
Well,
Trelawney.
Trelawney, almost of
You
Noblesville,
got it.
Indiana. How are you, Trelawney?
I'm well. How are you,
Oh
David?
my God, we're gonna have a great show tonight. We're here to interview her because we're gonna put you back to work.
I
So
appreciate you.
we'll be right back after this video. All right, you gotta love those videos, don't you?
It's interesting.
I wanted to tell everybody tonight is the favorite part of this show that I love doing is when I'm scrolling down through LinkedIn and I see people that are looking for work, and I love reaching out. And I'll tell you what, I reached out. Trelawney, you were like, yes.
Yes.
There was no ifs. You were, I'll be there,
I
and we
want to
scheduled
mention.
this within 2 days. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
appreciate you getting back to me so promptly. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. You know, why don't you? We're just going to start out tonight and let's just go deep dive right into it. Tell us about yourself first, and about your family and friends. And
Sure. I am a mom of four grown daughters. They are out in the world doing their thing, and I'm very, very proud of them. Their father passed in 2012, but I know he would be proud of all four of them. But I was a stay-at-home mom while the younger three were at home. So, but I am the oldest of three, and my sister's in Carmel, and my brother's in Florida. My mother and stepfather, who I introduced them when I was a drug rep. They've been here for almost 20 years now. We're a very close-knit family. I'm a Christian, and we're always together. So, I'm just always loved being involved in my community, and when my girls were in school, in their schools and things like that, and in the church. So yeah.
So I can tell family is very important.
Very, very much so.
It is. I think anymore, that work-life balance, you never heard of that before.
Right.
Until after COVID. Everybody wanted that work-life balance.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes. Yeah.
And you talked about it.
Yeah, for sure. That was something that I noticed a lot, because when I was working as a COVID investigator, you heard a lot when people did come back, when people did come home to work, you started hearing more about that work-life balance. So it's very important.
It is. Yeah, I wanted to say hi to Lisa. Lisa always comes on the show and she says hi. So
hi, Lisa. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
All right. This is a great questions I want to hit you with here. I want to talk about actually what you're looking for, Trelawney, what you're looking for in job titles, and what do you want to do?
Okay. I've always had a passion for the sciences, right? Education. And I've always loved to teach myself things. I've always loved being around people. And for me, when I got into sales as a pharmaceutical sales rep in the late 90s and early 2000s, I knew then that sales is where I belonged, right? I have a friend who had a spinal cord stimulator implanted in them from Medtronic. And it fascinated me so to see, I went to the doctor with them to see them with the sales rep. Right. To see for them to tell me that the sales rep was actually in the operating room with the doctor, helping to show them how to implant the device. Yeah, it blew me away. I had no idea.
I didn't
either. So at that point, I'm thinking I didn't know there was a such thing. I did not know. And so I started reaching out to some people and learning more and more about it. And so here recently, I've been talking with a lot of people from Medtronic, Ethicon, Diffuse Synthesis, Zimmer Biomet. Medical sales is where my passions lie.
Where your passion.
it really is. When when I was in a post-baccalaureate program at the Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, I had the opportunity to be a women's health intern. And I was able to scrub in with the physician. She was an OBGYN. And when I had my hands on those instruments and looking inside the body, it just my soul just lit up. And I knew then I'm getting goosebumps. I knew then that's what I wanted to do.
That's amazing.
So it's where I belong. It really is. I love pharmaceutical sales because you're able to help other patients and to further lifelong or whatever. But
right.
For me, medical device sales, that's where I belong.
I can tell you're in sales. I can just tell. When we first talked before this, I was like, she's definitely sales. We had two people want to say hi. Matt's a great colleague of mine that you want to definitely. He's one you want to really connect with. And we have Christy Brown saying, yay, MDT.
Hey, there's Christy. There she is. That's Medtronic. Yes. Hi, Christy. Thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate it.
All right. Wow. You lit up there. Good job, Christy.
Oh
that
my
was good.
She lit up. Wow.
So
awesome.
Talk about what you're actually looking for in a company. We know what you just said, what you want to do, but what are you looking for in a company? You don't just want to work. We talked about it before this, whether you even said it has to be a fit. It has to be a fit. And for you, what is that fit?
For sure, that work-life balance you were talking about. The company culture is, he's so sweet. She's so Chrissy. Thank you so much. The company culture is very important to me. When I'm doing research on companies, especially today in today's society, with all the things that are happening with global warming and things like that, I'm very impressed with companies who are involved in like trying to decrease the CO2 emissions, not use too much, decrease their water usage, and things like that. So when I see things like that on their websites, that really excites me, to be involved in their community, to see if they're working in their local community as well as globally, across the world. That's very impressive to me. And of course, the compensation package and things that they have to offer. I mean, that's just a bonus, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that whole, it's like a, what am I trying to say? It's how the company presents themselves and their websites. I did find a few websites that were not like up to par with like technology, and that kind of just
I love it.
Yeah, but the companies that I'm looking at, I'm very impressed with their websites, and so yeah, that's things that I really enjoy.
Well, I wanted to ask you. I had a couple things that you sent me, and I wanted to learn a little bit about myself. What you earned an A in, like in GSK. What is the GSK?
GlaxoSmithKline is a pharmaceutical company, and when I went out to initial training, we went to Research Triangle Park. I was there for 3 weeks. And I told Christy this, I'm a nerd. And so when they teach you about the drugs, so you have to learn the breakdown of the medication, the side effects, things like that. And then you have to learn about the competition. And so when they would teach us like the different competitions, we would get into like groups, and they would play games like Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune. And they would always say, Trelawney, get on Trelawney's team because we know she knows all the answers. So, they would ask us a question and I would ring, they would like, so learning about all the things that the medication does to the body. And they taught you about how the way to sell, how to close a sale and ask for the business. So it was a really, really great structure with GSK. I was very impressed with that structure. So it was really fun.
Yeah, because I noticed you're also a sales trainer, and I was looking at all the pharmaceutical sales. Listen, to me, looking at this, I'm like, okay, yeah, right. I'm glad I'm the one asking it a question. But and to put it in perspective, like you said, like to know the sales, wow, the information that you got to know about the medications I'm looking at here, and the market share, the leaders, like you said, all the prescriptions, and I guess here has a lot of, what do you call it? Name brands and then generic.
Yes.
And I was looking at that here. I was like, wow. So where does that come into training? How do you get all that training for these types of jobs?
It's a very detailed oriented training program. So they'll teach you the molecular breakdown of the drug that you're going to be selling. And I sold a lot of them. So you have to learn that the structure of that drug, all the side effects, all the like the brand name, the generic name, all of that. And then you have to learn all about all the competition. And it's grueling, and it's not for everyone. But like I said, because I've always loved, education in the sciences, it just became second nature to me. But it's more of a like when I was teaching myself, like when I would go home, well, we were in a hotel. When I would study at home, I would have like my drug, and then I would have the other drugs in comparison, and you would have to like compare and contrast between all of them. So it's a lot, but it's a lot. It's a massive undertaking, but I really enjoy that part of the education portion.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you about your education. Why don't we just go into that a little bit and just tell us about it?
Sure. I earned a bachelor's of science from the University of Indianapolis. And while I was there as the director of graduate admissions for the physical and occupational therapy programs, I decided, let me try my ways into medical school. So I went over to the IU School of Nursing. IU School of Medicine, and talked to their counselor, and he says, because you have a business degree, you would do well in getting a post-baccalaureate program degree first.
Right.
So I applied for a program in Illinois, and David, I drove 4.5 hours one way there. I lived there during the week as a student, and then drove back to Indianapolis, where my husband and our at the time, she was our only child. We're living with my mom. So it was a mom and husband. I'm sorry, a wife and mom on the weekends, and then student during the week. But I did that program for a year, and I got a post-bac in medical science. And so the business, really what helps me with the sales portion of this is the business acumen that I learned from the bachelor's in business administration, economics and finance, coupled with the medical science portion of it. You put those two together with my sales and my personality, because people always said I have an infectious personality and infectious smile. You can't go wrong. And that's why I was always a top selling performer in my territory. Always. I always took home. I always took home.
I like the twist of the head there. Always.
Always took home top bonus dollar. And I loved that. And that's the other thing about sales, David. When you can actually see your bonus dollars going up based on what you're doing in the field.
Right.
Well,
I'm with sales. I told you I love sales. I'm a very incentive. For me, I'm an incentive salesperson. That means I really like to, if I'm working hard, I want to be paid for it, and not being like arrogant about it. But I'm just saying, I really want to work hard because I want that goal. If you're going to give me that goal, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it one way or the other, and I don't care what I have to do, who is there or what, but I'll figure out ways. How has LinkedIn helped you in your job search? You're on there. I know. See?
LinkedIn. I'm going to take a sip of water.
That's okay.
Thank you. LinkedIn is a godsend. And I told you before we went live, I've always been known as a networking queen, and it's just who I am. It's just part of who I do it. I'm authentic with it. But the fact that you can actually reach out to someone in a company, and them to respond, and then you get this back and forth, and it's like, it's blowing my mind. I have hundreds of DMs from companies. I'm having like the VP of sales reached out to me from one company last week. Reached out to me, and it's because I am really engaging on their company sites, and they're seeing it, and it's sincere, because the ones I engage with are companies that I really have an interest in. Working for.
Go figure. That's a good. See, I'll give you a plus on that one.
Yeah. So even with you, when you reached out and said, you wanted to interview someone, what did I do? I hopped into the DMs and I said, I'll go for it. And then here we are. So
it's like I told everybody, Trelawney, is The video on LinkedIn and versus even, I get a lot of people saying, okay, here's your resume. All right. So
Yes,
the resume goes to the employer and, they look at it. I've been doing it for so long and okay, you can make your assumptions. But the reason I like is this is your personality.
sure. Yeah.
See, we're going over everything right now. And if
Yes.
somebody's out there right now, somebody in a company is going to say,
Yes.
wow, this person seems motivated. You've said the best words. It just flows from you. I can see it when you smile, when you're
Mhm.
passionate, what you
Oh,
like,
thank you.
you're about your family. And I got to tell you, we're going to get into it too about all your volunteer work.
Yes.
But it makes you stand out on that. And that's why I wish
I
more
appreciate
people
that.
would do what you just do right now. You're like, I never did it, but why not?
Yep.
This video here that I love helping people, it all takes is just one person. That's
Yes.
it. And it can
Yes.
change your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I cannot thank God enough for you because
Yep.
if I had, yeah, we wouldn't be here. If you hadn't put
Yeah.
that on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have never met you.
Yep. And that's what you got to. I like how you put ads. I mean, you place ads on your page.
Yes.
Um, and
Tagging
that's
people. Yeah.
and what you just get them reaching out to you, right?
Yeah. They're
See?
they're starting to reach out to me. I've got recruiters reaching out. And it's like I'm getting emails now. It's like this is just I am truly honored and humbled
Yep,
that so many have yeah.
it is.
Oh, and Christy saying it takes such oh,
It is, and the way she says that is so true,
thank
and that's
you.
what I believe. Because
Thank you, Christy.
listen, you don't know the questions I'm going to ask you. We only talked 30 minutes before this,
Right.
and you're here on a live show that gets seen a lot. And
Yes.
to
Appreciate
ask
it.
somebody, example, I want to talk to you about your soft side. Now, you
Mhm.
said something to me. I looked on your resume here that I respect. Is I told you I lost my parents both to cancer, but with hospice.
Yes.
And you were a sales representative at hospice. And I wanted you to tell a little bit about that
Sure.
and how that felt, because what you said to me, it was very passionate, because
Sure.
those people I respect so much for what
Yes.
they do.
Yes, I had no idea when I took that job. And I got, it seems I've noticed something else. Every job that I've applied for and like interviewed for, like I got hired on the spot.
Right.
So there's just something to that. But when I got hired for that position, I had no idea the magnitude of that job.
Yeah.
I told you that I not only called on doctors' offices and hospitals, but I also called on nursing homes and I went into people's homes. And I became very attached to some of those residents, especially in the nursing homes,
Right.
whose family they were the only one left in their family. There was one particular, her name was Gertrude, and when she saw me coming, she would pick up her Bible and say, "Would you please read scripture to me?" And I looked forward to going to see her, and then one day I'm driving and I get a call and they're like, Gertrude died.
Right.
And it just, my God, let me tell you something. That job was that was a hard job to do,
Yeah.
but it was one that I am so thankful I had the honor to do because you got to see people on take their last breath.
Right. Yep.
And the team that I worked on, I was a sales rep. I had a chaplain on my team. I had a social worker on my team, a nurse, and a physician. And so we had to work as a team too. But a lot of times
That's
I would be the only one available, and they would call and say, "Trelawney, can you go down there and be with the family while the patient is dying?"
right.
I'm getting chills again. So yeah, that job was one I will truly never forget. And I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity because you really get, I've seen babies be born because that was my passion to be an OBGYN. I've seen
Right.
babies be born, but to see someone take their last breath
Yeah.
and
And
you,
then also your background, I mean, that had to come into it also. I mean, you have it all right there. I mean, here you're in
I
a
appreciate
spot of
it.
empathy, family, but
Yeah.
you understand a little bit of it too,
Yes.
more than a typical family would, because being into
Yes.
sales and saying for what you've done, the medications, I'm sure you know a bunch of them, you
Absolutely.
know,
Yes.
and
For
I can
sure.
imagine. And you did that for a while. What
Yes.
then? Tell me about the COVID-19.
Wow.
I gotta hear that one for the specialist there.
Wow. Yes.
2 years.
Yeah. So, my youngest had just graduated from high school, and I'm thinking, okay, so now it's mommy's time because now I'm an empty nester, and I'm thinking, okay, it's now time for me to get back into the workforce.
Right.
And so I see an ad on the news about we need contact tracers. And I immediately called the IU School of Nursing and got a job. I got hired. And I was telling you, call center work. I got to say this. When you call Comcast or AT&T or Sprint or whoever,
Right.
I have an entirely new respect for call center agents. Let me tell
Right.
you, because like I told you, there are metrics that you have to meet. They're listening to every call when inbound or outbound.
Right.
Um, it was all remote, and so we only knew each other through chatting, right? And
Right.
I was telling you, the day that the vaccine line went live, out of the entire contract, the
Wow.
entire across the board, I was the only one whose password was not accepted on the program that
Right.
they acquired. So my manager was like, Trelawney, you just work on the case side today, and everyone else will be on the vaccine line. I'm thinking, okay. And I said within 30 minutes, I got a call. And I knew that call was going to go left by the tone
Right.
of his voice. And when he didn't know that he was positive for one thing, but when he said, you're telling me that I'm positive. Then he started crying, and I'm thinking, okay, they teach you this in training. You may have someone who's going to be really abusive or curse you out or whatever. So
Right.
you never know from call to call how the call is going to go. But when he said to me this, I've got a gun in the next room.
Right.
You're going to blow my effing head off. He said the word.
Ow.
You got to know. I'm thinking, oh, dear God, what do I do? I had to stay calm. And I immediately texted my DM my manager and said in all
Right.
caps, we've got a suicidal caller. I need your help.
Right.
I'll be the first to tell you if I don't know something. I'm not afraid to ask.
I guess not. And that's a good thing.
That's a very, very good thing. That's a very good thing. And so when she said, okay, she was able to get on the call. He didn't know that she was listening in, but when she started texting me and she was like, Trelawney, how are you staying so calm? Do you have a psychology degree? And I'm thinking, no, I have a business degree and have a medical science background. But she's like, you're staying so calm. It took me 45 minutes to talk him down. And I'm staying like inside, I'm like screaming, like, oh my God, is this really happening? But I was able to talk him down. And then when I finally saw her say, Trelawney, help is at his front door, I was able to exhale, because before that I was holding my breath the entire time while I was talking to him. That's what it felt like. And it felt like that 45 minutes went on for hours. But for him to even thank me, and he said, I'm gonna thank God because you really helped me today. For him to say that to me,
Right.
It's one thing to help teach people about guidance about COVID and quarantining and isolating and things like that.
Right.
It's a whole nother thing when you're helping someone, when you're helping to save a life that way. It's good to help save a life with pharmaceuticals. It's good to help save a life with medical device units and things like that. But on a suicidal level, that is just a whole different ball of wax.
And I can't even imagine that you've better, like I said, the training and what you need to do.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, the work you did there, and I wanted to touch on a couple more minutes here is, the volunteer, the amount of volunteer work that you do is just incredible.
Yes.
I mean, I see you smile. So you got that very passionate, and you can see from what you said about the words you're saying about, you're looking for a company that's involved with the community.
Yes.
Well, there's a list here where we could just check that off, and see what you're talking about. I mean, I see how you believe with the church volunteer, parent volunteer,
yes,
community leader, article publication, women's health layperson, 2
yes,
articles, guest
yes,
lecturer. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that they wouldn't see while you're talking about it. I mean, the passion, the stuff that you do for families with your work and your experience. That's what I like. It's like,
oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do.
And you said that you would keep busy no matter what. If you weren't working, you were.
Yeah. Even though, and that's the thing, we were talking, the downside of being a stay-at-home mom. I will say this. I don't care what company I choose to work for or who chooses to hire me.
Right.
I don't regret a day. Not one day goes by that I regret staying home to be with those girls.
Yeah.
Because they are well-rounded individuals. Yep. And I couldn't be more proud to be their mom. But I will say that when I was involved in their school, like the baby twin, she was in show choir in her senior year. We went to New York, so they
Right.
went there for spring break. So I took all 4 girls. We went to New York for the week, but I kept them involved in church, and I gotta give credit to my mom. She not only kept us in church, but she kept us in the Word.
In the Word.
That's what's always been the crux. That's what keeps us grounded, right? So my girls were always involved in church, the vacation Bible school. I was a vacation Bible school teacher even for both of we were in children's choir, children's church. We were in praise dance together. My oldest one and I were on the same praise dance team.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So, and even in the community involved with the Indiana Black Expo, with the Right to Life, and me helping with women's health as a guest lecturer at the IU School of Nursing for 3 years. So I've always loved being involved, giving back, in some way. I mean, to stay
it's
at
important.
home,
It's
really
important.
is. It really is.
You got a fan here. You got a fan saying #HireChillin.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate
Lisa.
that.
Yeah, she's a fan of the show, and she's always on.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That's so sweet.
Before we end up here, I told you I really appreciate you coming on here, because it takes a lot to sit here and talk. And we've just met, and I've enjoyed our conversation.
I feel like I know you though. I feel like I know you, David.
Yeah, it's you're a very personable person, and
thank you.
If you had a minute here, I just want you to reintroduce yourself again, and what you're looking for as your job titles, anything what you're looking for, or companies, anything, and why.
Yes, medical sales device is where I would thrive. To be able to help patients have a more fulfilling life, to be able to teach the doctors and the surgeons, the nurses, how to use equipment to help extend life for their patients. The fact that AI, which is artificial intelligence, and the digital, everything, technology has exploded. It's so different than it was when I was a drug rep back in the late 2000s. So when you couple all of that together, and then you put my little spin on it with my personality and my love for sales, my passion for wanting to help, that you can't go wrong. And like I said, as a top sales rep for GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, I was a liaison. I was in a no-see territory, and they would call me because they knew that I could get into to make lunch appointments for doctors who did not see us at all. And so I was able to move market share from 10% to 86% in 3 months for one particular drug in particular. I was very impressed, very, very proud of myself for that moment. And from that, I became a sales trainer for GSK. So I've always wanted to be a medical sales device rep. That is where and in the clinical side of it as well, for sure.
And everybody's heard that out there, and trust me, I know we'll even put your email on here. They can private message you, and I'm sure you're gonna get back with them. But again, I want to thank you so much. I don't know where Indiana is or what is in Indiana. You got the Colts.
Yes, we do. Yes.
All right. That's all I know is you got the Colts.
We're right below Chicago, if that helps. All right. Yeah. We've got the Colts for sure.
You're the first one I've ever talked to in Indiana, so I can put that on my book. Put there.
All right.
So
I really appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you too, and thank you for coming on the show. And everybody, please reach out. And like I said, the Bring a Hire show. And if anybody's looking for work, please reach out to me. And we're gonna end it with a video like this, and I'll be talking to you in a minute.